Hey, so I'm going for a run today on the trails around Leon Creek, and I found something cool. Let me show you what I found. Check out this beauty. Man, she is built. And guess where she was built? As I look over here in the steering wheel area of this beautiful old earth moving machine, this tractor. This is Ford Motor Company, made in England. And I'm sure it had many years of good use, but for now, yeah, it's just lawn decoration on the trail. I could just imagine decades ago, some guys, working on this on the assembly line, guys from England putting it together piece by piece, carefully, because this is gonna be something that lasts. This is built to work, and I could just imagine their voice in their head going, I hope someday my machinery goes to America, and I hope it sits in a field so many people can admire as they walk by. Was that their hope? No. Was that a good English accent? No. But let's get to the point. I think this tractor looks a lot like many local churches. Okay, let the sting take that out for a second. Am I talking about your church? I don't know. Am I talking about my church? Maybe. Sometimes. I wonder, are we more fond of the years when we were productive once upon a time, and now for the most part we sit as decorations? We're solid, we're stalwart, we're gonna be here for as long as we can be here, because no one's gonna move us, no one's gonna budge this thing out. I mean, you could bring another bigger piece of machinery and take it out, but it's kind of like, what's the purpose? It's not hurting anybody right here. And that's the bigger insult. If I was going to insult the church, I wouldn't want to insult, the bride of Christ that I'm a part of. But if I could speak a truth that would hopefully motivate some movement, it's the fact that Satan leaves a lot of churches alone because there's no threat to him. Like this big piece of machinery, it's not really doing anyone harm. It's kind of cool, kind of neat to look at, but its years of productivity have been long gone. So what about the local church? I'm not talking about the universal church, not talking about the church universal that the gates of hell can't stand against, and Satan and his demons quiver in fear of the universal bride of Christ that he died for, and he is restoring and renewing. I'm not talking about that universal church. I'm talking about the local expressions of our churches, whatever denomination or non-denomination. Is it alive? Is it thriving? Is it a threat to the enemy? Well, if I'm reading in the scriptures and I'm thinking about, man, God can breathe life into old bones. He's done it on an occasion before. He's moved in power and brought life to things that seemed dead. Even his own son, where it would seem that the grave was victorious. It would seem that the enemy had won, but God breathes his life into things. So if you yourself feel like this old tractor, if you feel like your church might feel a lot or look a lot like this old tractor that's more decoration and more a monument to movements past, man, pray to the God who breathes life in, who makes beautiful things out of old things. And by God's grace, thank you that he does, because I'm part of that story. I would resonate well with what Jesus says to the church in Laodicea in Revelation chapter 3, verses 14 through 22. He's talking about this church, and he says, there's nothing good he says about it, but he says, you are naked, wretched, pitiful, poor. Even though they were a very wealthy and a very healthy area at that time, Jesus looked on them and said, you're so wrapped up in your own self, you think you don't need any help, so you are naked, wretched, pitiful, poor. And so I feel like that sometimes. But the beautiful thing about that story is that then Jesus goes on to say, but I stand at the door and I knock, and if you'll let me in, I want to share a meal with you and be with you. So even though we are naked, wretched, pitiful, poor, old, maybe have seen our better days and haven't been very productive in a long time, Jesus still says, I want to spend time with you. I want to commune with you. So may God bless you today, and may you spend time with him. All right, peace.